these were taken about 1987 in San Diego Aikikai. I was unaware completely that anybody was videotaping or filming this class with Chiba Sensei. And it wasn't until many, many years later that someone found it and in a way published it. And it was very interesting for me to look back at that time and see how my teacher was working with me. Because understanding ukemi takes a long time to develop and to synchronize and to, as you all know, I just thought it would be a very interesting opportunity to look at it from that point of view. So we'll watch it. I think maybe we could watch it quietly, watch it through a second time, and then you can interact with it. If you have something that you see that you are that interests you, that you can relate to your own ukemi, your own practice, then let's turn it into a discussion about ukemi.
All right, we'll begin.
All right. I don't have any sound, Garrett.
Yeah, that's something I can't do. I can't play the sound while I'm sharing the video.
Oh, really? Okay. Also, my image is really blurred. I know it's not a very clear one to start off with. Is it because I've got a full screen, do you think?
Well, part of it is because the quality of the video, since it's so old and was probably shot on VHS, it's
right,
just
I have seen it better though.
Yeah, it could be the download speed, the streaming speed that you're experiencing from your internet provider.
Okay, you think it's just me?
I think so.
No, mine's pretty blurry too, and I have lightning speed internet, so I'm told.
Well, it may just be because as well that we have this at maximize the screen, and this is really the quality of the video.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, so let's go back, play it again. So I could slow it down now a little bit.
Are you slowing it down now a little bit? Okay.
Yeah, this is at 3/4 speed.
Right. Oh, it's a pity it's not clear, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, again, this is probably going to be the best quality we're going to get, unless there's you have something that's better quality. This is what we're streaming from the YouTube video.
Oh, it is from the YouTube, because when I looked at it on YouTube, it was much clearer than this, but
I could.
maybe it's that particular one as well.
Yeah, it could be.
It's a pity it's so close up. I wish sometimes that the camera was a little bit further back. I know I'm having lots of things I want to say as I'm watching it. It's like I'm watching it for the first time again. And it almost doesn't seem like me anymore, but of course it was.
Well, feel free to share your thoughts since no one else is chiming in.
Oh, okay. Well, the one thing that stands out to me, and it did also with watching Chiba Sensei, an archery champion, and the Bokken, is Sensei's hands, how expressive they are always, and how he invites and communicates through his hands very much. So his invitation for me to grab him starts before I've grabbed him, before you make contact. It's already happening. So he draws you into the movement. So your ukemi is already moving and before you make contact.
So a couple things I noticed, and I didn't want to do too much last week. I had things I was going to say until Archie was there. I didn't want to act like I was, doting on him too much. But his ukemi watching those videos was just unbelievably live and dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And I see the same similarity here. And I think that, you guys mentioned that this was a period where you guys were training every day. I don't know how many hours a day. I think it was a very intense training time, and it probably got to a point where it was just so in your body that it was made it that dynamic, made it that lively. And it's just amazing to watch.
At some point, you can only just let go of yourself and completely be there for the moment. And in that letting go and giving up yourself, you actually, as it's happening, develop a greater awareness of where you are in space and what you are doing and where that connection is with this person.
And I think that's one of the most challenging parts, right? Because we're trying to rewire that innate um, resistance in us. You want to not let yourself go and take that ukemi. You want to resist it, and that's what we're trying to rewire over this entire process of learning Aikido and ukemi specifically. And that's really the challenge. And as trying to assist other people along with that ukemi, that's a very tough challenge as well. Do you think that the intensity at the time of your guys' training, correct me if I'm wrong, Sensei, I think you were, a group of you were pretty much Kenshusei at that time, right? And you just spent many, many hours at the dojo?
Well, we were Kenshusei without being called Kenshusei at the time. We were Sensei sort of, he was building up the idea of the program of Kenshusei, and through this early work with us, I think that's how I see it. But we all trained just as much as we could, you know, as often as we could, and our lives at that time allowed us to do it.
Sensei, did Chiba Sensei always walk that deliberately?
Oh yes, even if he was going fast, it was, yeah.
Even off the mat?
Yeah, he truly is awesome and very brilliant in many ways, as a martial artist and also as a thinker. And had great compassion. He had great flaws too as a human being, but he had also the ability to compassion. That's a Nikkyo, and that is a hard way to learn Nikkyo, guys.
I'll bet.
He would keep it on you until you moved your body correctly around it. And what the biggest lesson for me from him was that that if I didn't let go, then, and there was any resistance, I would hurt. I would be broken, and it would be my responsibility. And so the difficult, thing in our training is learning to let go while staying in control of yourself and keeping your consciousness all the time.
Sensei, should we go to the next video?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Can we skip the Boken though for now and go to the next one? We'll do the Boken at the end.
Yes.
Oh, now look, that looks like the same one again. Maybe not.
No, these are different. These are all different. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Now that Nikkyo looked like it would hurt if you didn't move your body.
Absolutely, and it did.
It did.
And its very application actually is what teaches you how to take ukemi around it, because you don't want to hurt so much. This is really nice to see Ikkyo, Nikkyo, Sankyo. Suwari Waza, this is all our foundation work.
Yonkyo.
Mhm. That's the nice point of contact. You see that even when you're taking ukemi, you want to keep connected as long as you can. And that comes from uke as well as nage, right?
On a side note observation, I can see that Chiba Sensei is wearing his white belt, which is where that tradition must have come from, that so many senior students in Barangay wear a white belt.
Yes, maybe. You know, we were Chiba Sensei always made us feel like we were beginners. You know, there was just so much there to learn that that our egos mustn't get caught up in you know, a black belt or our rank or the fact even that we are teachers. Not important. I love the way I run up. Notice all my wrappings, by the way. My foot, my ankle, my knee,
Your elbow.
my elbow. And yet we carried on.
I don't see any red tape either.
No. No resistance. Oh, there's the red one. See my knee?
I saw that right after. It is hidden though, mostly.
Yeah. I saw Sabrina come in. Are you there, Sabrina, somewhere? I thought I saw Sabrina.
Hi, Sensei.
Oh, hi. Hi. And Nico, hello too.
Hello.
Hi, hello.
You know, I think when we have a discussion about what's martial, I think we just show these videos.
Well, yeah. Who wants to resist an attack like, you know, someone as powerful as a Chiba Sensei? You know, there's no point in resisting. You just want to find the moments when you can actually get up and out of it, out of the situation.
Well, there's also a committed attack. Every time you attack, you're committing with the attack, and your center is always continuing to give energy and not, you know, going in multiple directions. It's always, you know, hey, this is part of my wholeness in my attack with, you know, at Nage. And I think that helps, you know, allow for the Aikido to manifest and actually show itself.
Yeah. Yeah, the movement has started, you know, with the instigation of the attack. Actually, Sensei invites it, then the grab or the attack happens. And so you're already moving. It doesn't happen when you make contact with, you know, with Nage. It doesn't happen then. It's already happened beforehand. Look at Sensei's beautiful hand.
you already had mentioned his hands. His hands are always open.
Yeah.
In one
And
way
yet,
or another.
yeah, they're open and yet they're relaxed. It's like, you know, they don't look like stiff sausages sticking out on the ends of his hands. there's a relaxation.
Should we try the next video?
Yeah. Yeah, it's standing.
Ouch.
Is this in quick speed, Garrett?
There's Juba, by the way, one of
No,
those.
this is normal speed.
Oh, that might be George Lyons. I don't know. Ow, that was a pain.
Oh,
I feel it.
That hurts from here.
Yeah.
Sensei, do you remember these specific days?
No, but I remember the experience of taking ukemi from him. I do, well, these days, yes, I do. I do remember these days, training with everybody.
I mean, I know you said the first one you didn't even know it was being recorded.
Well, I didn't know this was being recorded. There was someone in the dojo with a camera. There's another one there walking by. But you know, when you're in the middle of something like this, you're totally unaware of anything outside of that experience that you're going through at that time, because it's,
Sure.
you know, it's truly a life and death experience with someone like a Chiba Sensei, you know, and
I think that's what's made it martial.
yeah, that is. And, you know, ironically, it's not about being tough and, you know, like aggressive. It's just about being so alert and aware and so centered and balanced. And, you know, just you hold your space like that and you always know where to move. Notice
Jesus.
how once you make contact, once I come in, my movement never stops. It continues around. It gives him my whole body to move right through.
Suzanne here. Can I say something?
Yes, Suzanne,
Hear me?
please, anytime.
Yeah, I watched this video before, and one of the things that strikes me about it is the way Sensei is so connected to you moment by moment. So even in that moment where, you know, you start to fall an unfortunate direction, he's completely at choice as to how much leash to give you, you know, how much he's going to bring his uke in tight and let them feel that pain, or let it out and give them that space to recover before coming back in. So there's that balance of paying attention to yourself moment by moment, but also paying attention to uke moment by moment as well. And I think for a lot of people, they're either in one place or the other. It's hard to hold both equally.
You know, one of Sensei's talked about Aikido many times, and you can talk about it in many ways, but one of the ways he described Aikido was that Aikido is a state of mind, which I think is very, he has that state of mind all the time, and it doesn't come and go. Once you have it, you have it. It's, you've released the person and you're standing back, and yet he still all the time was aware of where I was, even as I was getting up. this is Rehab Yakub, who was a wonderful friend and training partner and student at the time in San Diego. Chiba Sensei told me one time that my Aikido, he was authentic. And I always thought that was a very interesting thing to say. So I wonder if you see something in what you've been seeing that you would say, yeah, that's authentic. I'm just curious about it.
Sensei, one thing Ethan and I are noticing is that it appears that your technique has evolved over the course of time.
I hope so. Yes, thank you.
And
although I don't see there's any difference much in my movement, but
I think what we were wondering about is pacing and tempo.
timing. Sorry, did you say pacing?
Yeah, pacing and tempo.
Timing.
Your tempo is different, yeah.
It'd be timing.
Yeah.
So Sensei, interestingly enough, I decided I would actually, it's a word you hear all your life, authentic, but I thought I would look up definitions. And first definition, it says authentic, worthy of acceptance.
Oh, really? That's
Then
interesting.
another definition, it said made or done the same way as an original.
Huh. Well, I think in Aikido, you could maybe say you don't try to be anybody other than yourself. You don't try to be a martial artist. You don't try to be strong. You don't try to be, you know, you just are yourself. And that's why it's such a wonderful art, in that it allows everybody to develop themselves to their own potential and not try to be like anybody else. I mean, how could I, you know, the first stage of Shuhari is that you have to imitate your teacher, really. Do everything you're told to do, and you just do it and do it and do it. And, you know, you might say, you know, how could someone like me imitate my teacher? But yet there was always somehow something very essential coming out of him that you're trying to emulate and to find in yourself. And so I do feel, I feel my teacher in me when I'm teaching and when I'm practicing, even now. I mean, sorry, that doesn't answer your question, Kevin. Your question was something a little bit different. But I think that that in a way, as my Aikido is developed, I have become more martial. And to me, what that means is that you completely, fully cut someone down in one movement. And then you have that control at any time. And it's up to you as to your timing when you let that person up from, uke up from that from that movement, from that, you might calling it cutting down. So it's very closely related to our weapons work. And yeah. So yes, I think it creates a different rhythm.
I'd be interested to hear you give comments on Nage here and what corrections you would give the younger you from your perspective right now.
I was thinking I was looking pretty good, actually.
Oh, you're definitely looking good, but
I know I don't mean looking good in not quite that sense, but I mean I see, you know, a developing understanding of really applying Nikkyo and Sankyo, and really, you know, what that is doing as you're applying it to Uke's structural body, really. You know, I can see that there's awareness of, as you take the risk, how you cut that down, and you know, it's the beginning of you know, I think transition from the consciousness you have in what you're doing to what you are doing to your partner. That's quite a transition. Hello? Yeah. Did you hear me say that?
oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, Sensei.
Yeah. You know, for a long time, you're learning the form of the techniques, and you know, and you have an uke who follows along the best they can. Sometimes, if they're really good ukes and they've had a lot of experience, they can actually lead your technique. You know, if you're a junior person, and that's one way, very good way of you know, older students teaching younger ones. It's literally through leading them through their own ukemi without saying anything. You don't have to talk. Your body leads you.
So I would be curious, for the sake of conversation, Kevin and Ethan, you said you noticed that her Aikido looks different, but I don't think I heard you specify what specifically you thought is different. Would you mind expanding on that? No? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Tim. Maybe they dropped off for a while. So.
Oh, you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking, Sensei, that this video showed the being connected and really focused, both sides, uke and nage, all the time. That is really striking, and that's a key. So that's how you should train always. So, and it doesn't need to be fast, but that really, that when it's on, it's on. So that and it doesn't stop. That's hugely important. So, and it's so great on all of these videos.
Mm.
Shall we view the Boken practice with you and Chiba Sensei?
Yes, yeah. This he taught me a good lesson in this one, by the way. I was opening, and I had an opening and I wasn't aware of it, and he hit me. He finally, you can't hear the sound here, but he said, "I will get you." and he did.
I can relate to that when he told me to get off the line a few times.
Yes.
I think I got it on the third one.
I'll tell you a story about this Boken. he lost the tip of that bokken, and that bokken is broken, actually, just the tip off. And it was kind of very threatening when it came towards you.
Yes, I'm sure of it.
I was young in my weapons work here.
Do you know how he lost the tip?
You know what? I don't remember. It broke off, probably during a practice with somebody like Chiba. I don't know. But he felt it was still long enough, and he kind of, I think, sanded it down somewhat. Here he goes. He says, I'll get you now. This was the dojo on University Avenue.
Oh, okay.
It was a fun training time, actually. We used to meet at the bottom of University and Washington before you get on the freeway. There was the Club Nagasaki. It was a kind of a beer joint with pool tables, and we would go there after class every evening and play pool and, you know, relax.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Look how young he looks too. Just entering his sphere of power taught you a huge amount, you know, just to be able to do that without fear.
He always would close the distance as well.
Oh yeah.
That's a good point. He sure does.
He doesn't leave an opportunity for an opening. So, Sensei, question.
Yes.
So I noticed that as he does close that distance, you don't retreat at all. What was the agreement with that? I oftentimes I feel like if there's an entrance there, yeah, there's a retreat. Right as I said, there becomes one.
Yeah, I retreat because he moves into my space too. So, you know, in a way, all of this is teaching you teaching you my. When you have it naturally, spontaneously, you probably notice when I call you up for weapons, I'll adjust my relationship to you before we begin because you don't quite have it yet. It'll like maybe be too close, a little bit too, you know, a little bit too far apart. And there is a space between you that's critical.
I notice I haven't slowed down the video at all. This kata and this weapons work that the two of you are doing is very deliberate, which is kind of nice. I haven't felt the need to slow it down.
Yeah, he's teaching me at a certain point in my, you know, my development, you might say, of the Bokken. But it doesn't matter whether he's going fast or slow. You can't penetrate him. You know, it's. Garrett, there was a video, and I thought it was on here, of Sensei doing Bokken, doing Iaido. Do we have that one? No, I thought it used to be there.
It may
Sensei,
be.
a question while he's looking for that?
I beg one?
Can I ask you a question about the kumitachi while he's looking
Yes.
for that?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a two-part question. One is, when I see, he did Nino touch like a couple of times in there, and it reminded me of another Nino touch I saw around, you know, the earlier time period, where it looked like the ski was up toward the sternum,
Yeah.
rather than down near the floating rib or the organ-rich area in between the hip, in between the pelvis and the lower rib. Which is, it seems to me, in later years, that was the primary target, maybe to help people get down low. But in this demonstration and another demonstration from around that time period, the target was clearly higher, you know, where uke is down low, but the angle of the Bokken is up higher on the rib cage. First question.
I think that to respond to that one first. My feeling is that it changed and became lower as a safety precaution. Because Sensei would always, you know, feel like, really do it, come on, really do it. And you know, you don't have control. It's a lot safer if you hit the abdomen and the abdominal muscles than, you know, if you hit the chest. You could, you know, be too high and hit the throat. And so maybe that was the reason.
And the other question I have, you know, Boye Sensei has been doing these variations on the kumitachi.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, in a sense, he's continuing to study it and evolve it and take it into a new direction, a new way of studying these forms around a very, very narrow line. And I'm sure you've been able to experience the kumitachi in so many different stages of development. I was just wondering if you could speak to that, what Boye Sensei is doing with the form now, as opposed to what Chiba Sensei was doing in the latter part of his life, as opposed to the early development of these. And I recognize that they all come kind of origin from Saito Sensei's books as well. So there's a shift there in Chiba Sensei's kind of interpretation and evolution of them.
Well, what I've embodied is Chiba Sensei's version, you might say. You know, when I finished training with him and started teaching, his version has, I think, studying with a Chiba Sensei, you have to make what you do make sense. And so I find it interesting to train with someone who has maybe a slightly different approach or a different idea about it, and I will try that. But as far as my own practice and teaching goes, what comes out of me is what is embedded from an earlier time. I'm always interested in DDA Sensei and how he teaches, because he has spent so much of his lifetime studying Iaido. And I really do believe that Iaido teaches you to be the most martial and the most efficient with your movements, and most precise. And to take that into your, whether it's bokken work or body work, body art. I like his center of gravity, I think you might say. I respect that and appreciate it a lot. And I think there's a lot to learn from him. But I think maybe you just have to find your own way that you makes sense to you and works for you, that you can embody.
Sensei, is it fair to say that I don't know that, so DD Sensei spent so much time training in Japan with Iaido. Is it fair to say that they're not exactly the same forms? He has a different set of forms specifically than what Chiba Sensei was teaching. Is that fair?
Yes. He didn't learn his Iaido from Chiba Sensei. He may have done it with him some of the times, but he studied it actually from Mitazuka Sensei, I believe, and Mitazuka Sensei was Chiba Sensei's teacher. But Chiba Sensei, whatever it was that he learned and whatever he studied, it had to make sense to him. And he is not what you might call a traditionalist, or he didn't hold on to orthodox ways of doing anything. And actually Mitazuka Sensei was considered, I believe, to be somewhat eccentric in his Iaido, and I think that's why Chiba Sensei chose him, studied with him, chose him as his teacher. Sensei took it a step further. He wanted to relate it to Aikido and to our bokken practice. And so in the end, he stopped calling it Iaido for us, and it's called Iai Bato Ho. Yes, it's very sort of very difficult to keep Iaido going for all of our students, because it is an art in and of itself, and it takes a certain amount of practice, on its own. And it's not so, we teach it more as a complement to our body art now, as opposed to a separate art discipline in and of itself. And there aren't very many people and teachers who are like that. Has excellent Iaido, relate to her body art. But then she studied with a very different Iaido teacher too in Japan. So there are many variations and approaches to Iaido styles. So I think you have to take something that's really intrinsically in the core of it, and its movement and its centeredness and its precision, its dynamic. And those are the things that you want to take into your Aikido practice. Well, I think that's really a kind of a really nice place to maybe to finish. Huh? We've been almost an hour. Does
That
anyone
was-
else have anything to say? Would like to say? Sabrina, maybe? Haven't seen you for a while. Hi.
Well, I really liked seeing the videos. I think they were really good to see like the progression of where it like was and where it is now, you know.
Great. Nico?
Good. Now go out and get some work done.
Hey, Nico, you there?
Yeah, wait.
There she is.
Yeah. What do you
Oh,
think? Anything?
I thought it was really cool too. It was nice seeing like Sensei in her early stages.
In my early stages, in my relative youth. Well, you know, your ukemi is really, both of you two, your ukemi is coming along really, really nicely. And I think that always tells me where you are with your Aikido practice. Ukemi is a really important complementary part of Aikido. It's as important as being Nage. And you know, when you've been doing them for many, many years, they actually, really the energy and the dynamic is the same. You were an extension of someone else's body, right? When ukes give themselves to, fully give themselves to, in their attack, they in a way become part of Nage's body. You know, you allow yourself to be thrown and go without resistance to wherever you are thrown. That's actually the safest thing for you to do, you know.